Yo, what's up? Dallas Cowboys State of the Union back at it again with another video. And today, we got to talk about this.
Randy Gregory.
And David Irving. Let's start off. Randy Gregory, man.
Randy Gregory, I'm pulling for the kids. Yeah. You know, we know how hard he worked back to get back to this point. And I think at this point, he needs to focus more on himself than football. This is bigger than football. This is about the person.
Most definitely.
And, you know, mental health is a very fragile thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, prayers to Randy Gregory.
Yes. Again, to repeat what my bro just said, prayers to Randy Gregory. You know, clearly it's, other things going on that's leading him to have to keep going back to this. And, you know, he put in a lot of work this season. He put in a lot of work to get back. He put in a lot of work this season to get as good as he got so quickly. After coming back from literally playing almost 2 years with no football, to just come back and do what he did, I was excited to see that next chapter. But clearly, that's not going to be happening. Honestly, in my opinion, I think that the Cowboys are going to wish Randy Gregory best. But I feel like this suspension indefinitely, we don't know how long it's going to be. But I think that the Cowboys are probably going to hang their hat up and focus on getting another player in there.
Right.
As far as David Irving's concerned, I mean, he pretty much got on Instagram this past week and was going back with a troll and basically, said he didn't,
he didn't get into the NFL because he was a model citizen.
Yeah,
he got into the NFL because of his talent.
Yeah.
While there's no questioning the talent, is your behavior off the field is going to cause a lot of teams to press the pause button on this, no matter how talented you are. I mean, playing in the NFL is a privilege, not a right. Yeah. And while you did get in the NFL because of your talent, there's a reason why you went undrafted.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we was able to pluck you off the practice squad.
Yeah.
Because you just have not been dependable. And this yet another case of it is like he still doesn't get it. You still don't get it. Sometimes your best ability is availability. And if coaches can't trust you to stay on the field, they're not going to want to fool with you.
Now, he also said recently this week that he was ready to go, I don't know, week 12, week 13, but it was somebody else at the Star that was telling him, forcing him not to come. As far as, and he said, and this person is as controversial as I am. So I don't know if he's talking about who, Jason Garrett. I don't know who, but it sounded like he was talking about either a coach or somebody in the front office. That, I don't know how much truth I have in that. But again, he still doesn't get it. I think with both of these guys, the real case is that they both have so much athletic talent, and it's sad to see somebody who has that much talent and who is just naturally great at the game not want to do it and not want to put their all into it. And that's tough, but I think that for both of them it's time for them to focus on themselves, and we wish them nothing but the best. But I know a lot of people are wondering, oh man, this is gonna mess up our draft, this is gonna change our draft. I've been telling a whole lot of people, I don't think this is actually going to change anything. And the reason I say that is because, yes, they were dependent on Randy Gregory, or they was anticipating Randy Gregory being there next season. And unfortunately, we see he's not going to be. But they was already going to get rid of David Irving. That ship has sailed. They was going to re-sign Tank. They already offered him
the first contract,
the first offer. So we'll see what happens with that deal or whatnot. So they was already going to re-sign him. I still think that this draft is basically best player available, especially if you lock up the guys that you want to lock up. If you acquire Earl Thomas like you want to, if you're going ahead and re-sign Cole Beasley, which Stephen Jones was very adamant about them wanting to work out a deal with Beasley to keep him here in the long-term future. When you work out those deals or whatever, I think that this team is still stacked and loaded. And the only thing I got to say is Taco and Dorrance. Hey, next man up.
I think it's more, me personally, I think Dorrance is going to be the player that emerged here.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen enough evidence from Taco that you know how we say David Irving doesn't care about football.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna go that far and say the same thing about Taco.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really put in the want to become a better football player.
Exactly.
And you look at Dorrance Armstrong, even in limited snaps, we saw what kind of presence he was making, in limited snaps. So I think Dorrance Armstrong, to me, is the next man up.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be the guy to emerge here. And depending on what they do in free agency, if they get Earl Thomas, that cross safety off their checklist.
Yeah, but that cross safety off their checklist, but you also getting a guy that you can bring him down in the box and have him go after the quarterback if need be.
Right.
So that's going to help. That's going to help not having that other adequate pass rusher on the left side, to complement or the right side, whichever way you want to look at it.
Right. I mean, but
it's a compliment Tank.
Well, I think depending on what happens in free agency, I think you will see them go at the defensive end because you can never have too many bodies on the defensive line.
Most definitely.
Also, with the whole Cole Beasley situation, if they somehow move on from Cole Beasley, there's a guy by the name of Andy Isabella, wide receiver out of UMass. I've been watching a lot of tape on him, and he reminds me so much, not of Cole Beasley, but of a Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman hybrid. He's extremely fast. He's a great route runner. He can catch the ball. He had over 141 receiving yards in 2018 per game.
Right.
That led the FBS. So if they move on from Cole Beasley, you might have your replacement in Isabella if he falls to number 3.
Not only that, I mean, listening to Stephen Jones' interview yesterday, he also alluded to the fact that he said, keep in mind, Allen Hurns, when he was in Jacksonville, he primarily played in the slot.
Allen Hurns is another option.
Not to mention, we still got Cedric Wilson, who broke his arm last year in training camp or whatever, and he was out. He was on IR the whole season. We still got him, and nobody's seen him yet. So I think that if we lose Kobe, we will still find a way. I think they're going to probably go after another wide receiver in the draft. But again, they're not going to draft by need. They're going to draft best player available. They're still in a position to draft best player available. They've set this team up. This team is talented all across the board. So one missing piece, Randy Gregory is not a huge piece in the puzzle, Now I believe that you can never have enough defensive linemen. I would love to go after another nasty, maybe one tech defensive tackle. And luckily this draft is loaded. It's loaded with a lot of D linemen.
It's so loaded with defensive tackles that you can afford to wait until the third round.
Third or fourth.
If you really want to. You really want to.
And
because
a lot of people,
because the defensive tackle class is so loaded. Not only that, if Gerald McCoy, he's probably going to become a cap casualty in Tampa Bay. That's a guy that I would like to see the Cowboys go after because it would add, not only depth to the defensive line, but you have another body in there, Gerald McCoy, who is a Pro Bowler. That can get after the passer and can also stop the run.
Right.
So, you touched on the defensive tackles in the draft. Yeah, the defensive tackle draft class is loaded. Yeah, which is why I believe they can afford to wait until the third round.
Yeah, and a lot of people forget that the first round, it's a lot of quarterback needy teams out there. And so there's a lot of quarterbacks that are really not on people's radar. A lot of people say, 2020 is going to be the quarterback draft class. But that's what they said about 2016. And it's only 3 quarterbacks that's really making noise out of that draft right now. Dak, Wentz, and Goff.
Yeah.
So with that being said, normally it's the drafts that that are not the quarterback drafts where you see a lot of explosion from the quarterback. So it's going to be a lot of teams that might go early and try to get a quarterback that they think is not going to be there. So that's going to push a lot of them guys down to us.
And you mentioned, to add to your point, the quarterback draft class, you won't see a lot of quarterbacks in the draft that in any other draft, they would be day 2 prospects. They're going to automatically get pushed into the first round because of the dark talent on quarterback. You know, you have the notables, you have the Kyler Murray, quarterback from Oklahoma. You have Dwayne Haskins, the quarterback from Ohio State. But you're going to see a lot of these guys like Daniel Jones, the quarterback out of Duke. Drew Lock, the quarterback out of Missouri. They're going to get pushed maybe towards the end of the first round, maybe even middle part of the first round because there's like you said, there's a lot of quarterback needy teams that didn't get a quarterback the year before. I feel like the quarterback draft class last year was a lot more loaded than this one. If you was going to get a quarterback, last year would have been the time to do it. There's a reason why 5 quarterbacks went in the top 10. The first time in history that's ever happened. You're not going to see that here because, like I said, there's only 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, but again, we'll see what happens with that. But luckily we're okay. We're okay. We got a team that's built the right way. We got cap space. So that's the great thing about this. And now it's done early. So at least now you can make moves and whatnot. So the only thing I gotta ask is what is those Zeke, Elliott, and Dak Prescott contracts gonna look like?